Hello world, what is up? Welcome to Build at Home. I'm your host, Matt Forte, and I'm coming to you from my home, as I believe also is our next guest. But before we jump in, I just wanted to continue to highlight the amazing work and effort over at nokidhungry.org. Millions of children are losing the healthy meals they depend on as the coronavirus closes schools nationwide. If you look at their site, there's like 574 million meals have been lost, which is crazy. No Kid Hungry has a plan to feed them, which is great, but we need your help. So head over to nokidhungry.org, take a look and see. I know it's super hard out there right now. If you happen to be someone in a position to give back, I can't think of a better organization worth taking a look at. So nokidhungry.org. Take a look. Thanks, guys. Let's get the show started. Our next guest is a phenomenally talented artist who just today released her brand new single, Remember Me, with millions upon millions of fans, literally counting down the seconds to its release. It's a pretty exciting time to have her back on the show. So please, wherever you are, make some noise and welcome the truly great, the one, the only Dove Cameron, everybody. Dove.
Wow! What an intro.
Thank you very much. Well, you did all the hard work. You went out and were awesome for a while, so you made it
Got
easy.
here,
Dove, congratulations. I'm super excited to talk to you about this track. I know it's a very big day, and it's an amazing song. But before we do any of that, the most important thing, of course, how are you? How is quarantine life holding up? How are you doing over there right now?
I'm actually okay. I find it so lovely that we're all becoming so human that we're like, first of all, how are you? It's such a interesting time for everybody.
Yeah.
And so I think that like the importance of like looking out for each other and ourselves is so pivotal right now. So yeah, I'm
That's
okay.
awesome.
How are you?
I'm happy to hear that. I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking that. It's been weird, as we're getting in like week 4 or 5 of all this. I'm still trying to figure out my like rhythm, my routine. It's terrible. I'm like up way too late. I'm playing way too much Animal Crossing. I'm only eating peanut butter and jelly for lunch. Like I got a lot of things to figure out. Like all things considered, though, I'm grateful. I'm very lucky that I still have the job that I can do, and I'm still healthy, knock on wood. So like I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. That's pretty awesome of you. Have you figured out a routine on your side? Have you ironed out the kinks? Do you like have like a version of normal yet? Or are you still just kind of day by day like the rest of us right now?
I'm definitely day by day. I think that every day is really different as well, because I think that this is such an unnatural, let alone a scary time globally. I think it's also such an unnatural thing for human beings to be faced with behaviorally. Like we're just not designed for this kind of living.
Yeah.
So I think that it's very up and down for everybody. There's been a big talk about like people are having really vivid dreams. I think people who don't really experience much anxiety on a daily basis are experiencing extreme anxiety. I think that it's an interesting time for mental health in general for everybody. So I definitely think that it's difficult to pin down a rhythm, weirdly, even though when every day is the same. It's almost like that's harder because there's no routine. But I'm as well, like you, I'm lucky I can work from home for the most part. I can't do movies from home yet. But I'm learning new recipes. I'm working out way more than ever because like it's one of the 5 things you can do.
Exactly.
Spending time
That's
with my
pretty
dad.
amazing. You actually, I saw you had posted a beautifully honest and vulnerable message about self-care. I think it was just like yesterday or like the day before. And it's totally like really resonated with your fans and your followers, like millions and millions of likes in just hours. You've been pretty open about your journey and how you've been feeling. What inspired you to be so publicly vulnerable? And have you been at all surprised by the response from your fans and the immediacy of the response from your fans? Like, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think that right now social media is at an all-time high because it's one of the few ways that we can be creative and also be connected.
Yeah.
But I think that it's, at least on my feed, at least like with the people that I follow, it's inspiring a lot of people to be really honest and like really like, hey, how is everybody doing? Yeah. But I do think it's also kind of encouraging this productivity culture that is a bit double-edged. While we're all looking for ways to be creative and be productive and continue kind of our life in this new circumstance, I think that productivity culture can quickly shift to damaging and sort of create like this unrealistic expectation for a time that is really very hard for many of us, and as well create this sort of toxic relationship within ourselves and towards ourselves with what we could be doing, what we should be doing, how we should be feeling.
Right.
This person's doing yoga, this person has their splits, this person knows, like this person's made this kind of money, this person's done this person with charity. Like, I think that there's just so much as well of like everybody else, because we're all in the same experience. It's so easy to compare, right? We're all doing the exact same thing every day. So it's like why do they have their life together and why am I a mess? And I just figure if I'm going to have this like massive following that I somehow stumbled upon having, I want to be the girl that if I was 13 or 15 or fuck it, my age,
Yeah.
you know, I want to be an example that I want to be somebody that if they already look to me, I don't want to be that person that they look to and think like, oh, they have it all together. And so then I'm going to make myself have it all together, because that becomes so toxic so quickly. I want people to know that I don't have it all together and that I'm so sad some days and that I'm like struggling just to like get through my day, to make it more accessible so that they can feel that way and they can talk about it and we can all process together.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an incredible thing that you've done, and to see that sort of work in real time and see so many people connect with it and then themselves be vulnerable about how they're feeling. There was a line in particular that I really dug that you had wrote, where you were like, you know, self-care for you in this time is following what you need and emphasizing like what you need. Has it been difficult to sort of figure out what it is that you need? Like for people out there that are still kind of lost in figuring that out, what did that process look like for you and sort of identifying what it is that you need? Like, how do you know what you need?
Yeah, I think that what you need changes drastically
Hmm.
wherever you are in life. And I also think that what I need has changed a lot in the last 2 weeks, just since being on lockdown, because my life doesn't look the same as it did 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, however long we've been on lockdown. Because before it was like, okay, what do I have to do today? What do I have to get done? Where do I have to be? What scene do I have to do? What song? Like it was much more about like getting it all done and making sure I'm meeting my deadlines. And now that I'm really faced only with myself, there's all this like trauma, to be honest, and like pain that has kind of untouched. Like I said to my best friend the other night, I was like, I feel like all my trauma is like sitting on my floor staring up at me like, okay, hello, you have time now, so like what's your excuse?
It's for sure. No, it's wild like what it's done to like bring stuff to the surface for everybody to just kind of be with yourself for a little while. It's pretty nuts. Yeah.
Because our society is so like centered on distraction. Like, right? Entertainment is the base of our Western society in a lot of ways. I mean, there's a lot of things, but like that's a big one. It's a big core value for us. And it's really easy to feel distracted from those things to the point where you might never even fucking face them. Right. Yeah. Like I might go another 10 years without facing this. And as well, like my last year, I lost a really close friend of mine. And that was kind of a final, it like really broke me in a way that I wasn't able to put myself back together in the same way. And so then I had to find a new way to, I wouldn't even say put myself back together, but to like not put myself back together. Like I couldn't really go back to who I was, not just because of that, but because of my entire life and then losing Cameron and then now this life experience. And so for me as an individual, I think it's just such an important time. There's nothing more important other than helping people with the immediate help that needs to happen right now with the pandemic, and then after you've done what you can, and while you continue to do what you can and stay inside, you just have to face yourself.
I've been asking a lot of artists this. I understand if it's like way too soon to really tell, but have you started to see any of this incredibly crazy, scary time impact how you behave creatively or influence how you approach being creative? Are you writing? Are you able to write? Like, how is that side of your brain sort of existing in this time?
It was the first thing I did. Yeah. When we were, I never write. I mean, like I write in my journal all the time. I have so many basically essays that I could put a book together in an hour. And I write poems, but I'm never like, I'm going to write a song today. Like if I ever have even the time to do anything creative, my brain is just filled with I'm very practical. I'm like, okay, what do I'm a stress case. Right. So I never really feel that kind of space to then be like, oh, I want to be creative with my time. Like I did when I was younger. And I think that I've become much more of a performer or I was writing the other day, I was like, I need to take back how I see myself, because I went from feeling like an artist to feeling very much like a performer for hire. I don't know. Right. And it was a slow thing. It was why my days are just filled with things I need to knock out, stuff I need to get done, and I'm always so booked and busy and filled to the brim, which is something amazing, so lucky, so rare.
Right,
But
exactly. Yeah, it's like a good problem to have kind of thing. Yeah.
right, but like the creativity was just gone, right? Like I was just feeling so not tapped into that. And so the very first thing I did after like 2 days of quarantine was I went downstairs to my hotel lobby and I wrote a song. I've just been writing constantly.
That's amazing and very exciting to hear, especially on the heels of this new song that's come out today. And you, how long ago did you write "Remember Me"? This one you wrote a little while ago, right? Like
Ages ago. Yeah, I wrote "Remember Me." I wrote like 2 years ago.
okay, yeah, that's what I thought. And it's officially out today. And I said this in the intro. I'll say it again. Fans and yourself, everybody was counting down the hours, the seconds to this amazing moment, this fun day for the song to be out. And I saw you were featuring them on your IG story. There were fans that created a TikTok dance for it before the track was even released. What's that like to see that kind of excitement? You have your own excitement. Here's a song that you've sat on for 2 years and it's finally going to be out there. And to then see that excitement sort of reciprocated by the fan base in such an amazing, loving way. What's that feel like? And what's that like for you?
Unreal.
Yeah.
I think that this song is so far being like more, I don't know, it's hard to really like encapsulate how people receive music, but like I think that people are really responding to this one, and it's so special for me to have Bia and to have a feature in general. Like I think it's really, I always sort of saw that as like a evolutionary thing for an artist, like to be at the stage where they're ready to like feature on someone else's track, have a feature on their track. It's like such an exciting collaborative sort of like a recognition of like, I respect you, you know, such an incredible, like cool thing to be able to work with other artists in that capacity. So yeah, I mean, it's really special. I'm my brain's kind of exploding because like everything's happening. Like
it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's especially for the slow pace that I've like gotten used to over the past 2
Right. Yeah, for sure. Bia had put out, I think she was just doing a live thing and somebody asked what it was like working with Dove. She referred to you as an angel and said working with you was amazing. How did you two come to collab together and what was your experience like working with her?
You know, it came about really strangely. The song was never going to have a feature. It was there was never any space for the feature. It used
no way.
Figured differently. Yeah. And it was always something that my label and I loved. Like we love this track. It's one of our favorites. And then like as we narrowed into, because I have so many unreleased songs. I have like 10 songs that are done that we are obsessed with, that have an order, you know, like that. I have so much stuff lined up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so great to be able to say that. But once we narrowed in that this was going to be the next one, they came to me with the idea of having a feature. And then I was like, I don't know if I really see it with a feature. I'd need to hear it. I'd need to love it. You know, see who submits, see what happens. And she submitted, and I just knew the first time I heard what she did, I was like, oh, it's perfect. You don't want somebody on it that's not going to elevate it. And I really think she took what we had and like tapped into it and then elevated it.
100%. Not to harp on the 10 songs that are just laying in wait, but that's kind of amazing. You know, you've been releasing singles here and there for a little while now, for a minute, and I was curious. One of the things I wanted to ask you was, you know, we live in a time where you don't really need, like, an album isn't necessary anymore unless it's part of a grander creative vision. But I was just curious, did you have like an extended EP down the road or like an album in mind? But it sounds like you've got a pretty clear roadmap with these 10 tracks. No? Yes, maybe?
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. I mean, I think that people are listening to music in different capacities now. I think as much as we would all love to, you know, have an album make sense, I think a lot of people have been like, when's the album coming? Like my fans. And I don't know. I mean, I'm sure I'll release an album at some point, but I think it's far away. An EP is probably more likely, but really people consume in singles these days. And so until I'm really ready, whenever, you know, this quarantine is lifted, and until I'm ready to go on like regular tours and I've like cleared my film schedule, I don't really see the point in doing an EP until I have the time to properly promote it, and properly like dive into it and really like be in that sort of like promotional space. For sure. But yeah, I have so much music coming.
I was watching your performance on for Together at Home with Global Citizen that you'd just done recently, which good on you. That was awesome, by the way. And if I heard you right, that was like the first time you were kind of really playing all your originals because you had some live dates lined up, but like obviously that's not working right now. So that was like a really big moment, that performance, right? Like that was a big deal.
Yeah, kind of. And it was actually so perfect because I'm such a low key, like kind of like intimate vibe person. So it was the perfect way. It was the perfect way to do it. Like get my feet wet. Definitely those songs require a lot of production. So like my live shows are going to be a lot, my taste is very like high production. So it will be very different than that. But yeah, that was my first time.
Having that taste and knowing that that's like kind of what you love, is that what led to working with the Futuristics, who are just kind of phenomenal producers and have made some amazing stuff? I mean, multi-platinum duo, you know, it just kind of seems like that makes perfect sense. Was that like on your list? Did they approach you? How did that come together?
I was a collab. It was one of those things where my label, it's one of the really amazing things about having a label where like if I was independent, I just wouldn't have the same connections, you know. They were like, what do you think about the Futuristics? And I was like, I love the Futuristics. Like I'd love to work with them. And they were so amazing. Like I just think they're so talented and they're such nice guys. Every time I see them, I'm like, hey, like they're just like the nicest, most personable people. And so talented, like so unassuming. But yeah, no, it was just a collab. It was just a mutual thing.
It's pretty awesome. We've talked about a bunch of how much the fans are so excited for this track and to be out. I was talking to somebody yesterday about just the healing properties of music and how it can be therapeutic. And I'm curious, you know, do you have like a go-to album or artist that you turn to sometimes that's almost therapeutic for you that you really like to dig into and get lost in?
Absolutely. Number one favorite artist of all time forever is Lana Del Rey. She's somebody who literally, like, if I'm not okay, my therapist is like, who do you want to listen to? And I'm like, Lana Del Rey.
Put Lana on, just put Lana Del Rey.
She's so emotive and communicative, and like she has such an amazing ability to be so specific and also still keep so much feeling, which like usually when you're really specific, it's hard to encapsulate that much emotion.
Yeah.
But no, she's my ultimate favorite. I also love Astrid Gilberto. I've never heard it said out loud. She's a sort of a jazz singer from about like she's popular like 30 years ago, but she has unbelievable music. Yeah, she's just got like the most incredible vocal tone and so like calming, like samba music.
Wow. Astrogel. All right, I gotta look that one up. Yeah, it's so funny. That's interesting to hear you say Lana Del Rey and like, you know, the way that the to lean into that. I was talking to who was it? So Jack McBrayer, I was talking to yesterday, who's like, he did the voice of Fix It Felix. He was on 30 Rock, super funny guy. And I was asking him similar questions, and he was saying like when he's sad or whatnot, he leans into the sadness and he'll watch a movie or listen to stuff that he knows will make him cry to kind of like push him through it and like help him sort of own those emotions. And I just thought that was an interesting way to approach it, because I feel like so often people will feel a certain way and be like, no, I got to be in a good mood. Let me put happy music on or something. But to like, no, just own it and just go for something emotional and kind of be in that moment. There's power in that, I think.
Yeah, they actually say that psychologically that's a natural desire to want to express it because emotion is in the body. And so unless you express it, it will stay there. And that's why people have like, you know, outbursts and things like that. Like I'm a big proponent of leaning into whatever emotion you feel.
For sure. I got to wrap things up because we're just about out of time. But of course, congratulations on the song. I'll remind everybody, Remember Me is out and available now. But just more important than anything, I'm just so happy that you're doing well and you're staying healthy and that you're doing all right and you got things figured out over there. And that's just so great to see that so many people I get to talk to. It's always nice to just hear that we're all in this together, going through the same thing, just kind of figuring it out. So thank you for taking time and being honest about your experience and whatnot and what you're going through. So I think that helps a lot of people just to hear the human side of everything that's happening right now. So I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so happy to talk to you.
Awesome. All right, everybody, Remember Me. If you haven't listened to it already, go listen to it and then listen to it a million times more. You don't need me to tell you. It's a great song. You're going to want to do it naturally anyway. Anything you want to tell everybody else before we get out of here, Dove?
No, listen, stream, Remember Me, add it to all your favorite playlists, do the dance on TikTok if you feel like it, and keep an eye on my socials for more music updates.
That's right. We know there's at least 10 more songs coming at some point in the future, right? Dove, thank you so much again. An absolute treat and pleasure. Stay safe. Keep doing what you're doing. You're the best. Dove Cameron, everybody.
Thank you so much. Stay safe. Wash your hands.